What is going on, everybody? John Middlekauff, Go Low Podcast, talking PGA Tour, talking golf. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. It's on the 3 and Out feed, the 3 and Out podcast feed. So go subscribe. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. Volume's YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to the page. Make sure you leave a comment. And make sure you share it with your friends, as well as live on AMP every single day of the week. We got you covered here at the Volume. Download that AMP app and listen to all of our shows live every single week. A lot of content for you. Before we dive into the podcast, I wanted to tell you about my friends at Gametime. Here's what I need you to do. Go to your smartphone, download the Gametime app. When you do, type in the promo code JOHN, J-O-H-N, and get $20 off tickets. It's very, very easy to do. I cannot recommend it enough. You want to go to a baseball game. You want to go to a basketball game. You want to go to a concert, a comedy show. Listen, in these inflationary times, every time you can save, it's a big help. Trust me, we all can relate to that. And $20 off your first pair of tickets. When you sign up at Gametime, fastest growing ticket app in America, promo code JOHN, J-O-H-N, $20 off any event you want to go to. Take a friend, take a loved one. You don't even have to thank me. Just get $20 off and enjoy yourself. Get out of your house, get out of the home, get out of the office, and get out there. Have a time on me. Promo code JOHN, Gametime app. Do it now. Okay, a lot going on in the golf world right now. A couple thoughts on LIV, a couple thoughts on the rollback. Really quick on the match play. I'm probably not going to wager this week. I've been getting crushed lately. My guy Tommy Fleetwood just couldn't get it done last week, but got his hair is sweet, and he's striking the ball pretty good. He just doesn't know how to win. This event's pretty unique, and obviously it's going to be the last match play event, at least for the foreseeable future. Clearly that can change. We're in fluid times with the PGA Tour. So maybe they take a year off in 2024 and it comes back in 25. They need a sponsor. I think this course is fantastic. It's a country club, Austin Country Club. Every time for the last several years it's been there on television, it looks badass. It has the one drivable par 4. Remember a couple years ago, Tiger, before his injury, hit like a wedge, hold it for eagle. It's just a fantastic place. A lot of craziness happens, and there's a purity to match play that we all can relate to, because how often do you play a buddy for 9 holes, 18 holes for some cash, and you just play match play? It feels like it's been going on in golf forever, right? The U.S. Amateur is based that way. Some of my vivid memories as a kid was Tiger Woods winning the U.S. Amateur, which is a match play format. Now, I understand the sponsors get mad because a lot of the top players can get bounced, right? It's easy to lose. Like, listen, you could play a 5 handicap, could play a 15 handicap, and if you're a little off, you can lose in match play, even if you're not given shots. It's weird things happen, but I enjoy this event, and I do like how they changed it to the World Cup style, kind of the round robin, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and let them battle it out Saturday, Sunday. But it is a lot of golf. You basically play 3 rounds Monday or Wednesday through Friday. Then you play 36 holes Saturday and then 36 holes again on Sunday. So I do understand why it is a difficult event to gamble on, because all it takes is one bad round, where in a normal tournament, especially a no-cut event, WGC, these guys could have one bad round and shoot 10 under the next day. So I'm going to enjoy this. I do expect in the future, whether it's 25, whether it's 26, whether it's 27, we get match play back. I talked about this last week, and I believe it more to my core a week later. The only people I hear celebrating this golf rollback, which for those of you new to golf, it's going to shorten the golf ball, not for me and you, for the pros, which is like 7-8%, 15 yards, potentially 10 to 15 yards, is the media and the USGA. And the golf media, just like a lot of media in sports, are so close to it. I feel like they struggle to see just kind of the big picture. And every single person I listen to in the golf media wants this to happen. Yet I don't know one fan, and I haven't heard one player who says this is a good idea. And I feel pretty strong about my stance. Like, those are the two groups that matter to me. The fans literally pay for everything. These media deals would not exist if people were not consuming. And obviously we watch because of the players. I'd argue the most irrelevant group in this whole thing is the enjoyment and, the stance of the people that cover the sport. Now, I've heard some arguments that have some validity, but I really just think that I thought Jon Rahm eloquently said it today in his press conference Tuesday morning in Austin, that what's wrong? Right? Golf is booming. The players, the talent across the board has never been better. And if more people are watching, why do we have to change? So what? Some of these courses, it's a driver wedge fest. It is what it is. Just because the media wants these guys to quote unquote be tested, if the fans don't care, I'd argue it doesn't matter. I really would. And I feel pretty confident that my stance is not going to change. Now, if you told me that the technology keeps changing and on average they're hitting at 380 yards in 10 years, I'd say that's going to be a problem. But it doesn't feel like that's going to go that way. It kind of feels like we've maxed out on the 320, 330 distance. It's going to be we saw what Bryson had to do, swing out of his ass, and he was very hit or miss when he was hitting at 360. And a huge reason this happens, a lot of this distance, I play now at TPC Scottsdale. It's because they dry out the fairways. The amount of run they get because of the fairways in these tour events is pretty unique. It's not like all these guys are flying at, even the long hitters, 330 yards. They're getting so much run out. So you could argue, grow the fairways a little bit. You can adapt it. And again, if the fans do not care, which to me in any sport is the most important thing, the reason I red flagged the NBA is because the fans have tapped out. Where is their audience gone? Listen, I don't love everything about the NFL, some of these new instituted rules, but more people are watching than ever. And really, that's all that matters. So if golf is in a healthy spot with the consumer, I don't see why we're changing just because some media is celebrating it. I just couldn't agree or disagree anymore. What else? Last but not least, I ended up not going down to Tucson. Had shit to do last week, and it actually looked pretty crazy there. But my tune is not going to change on this. They are going to struggle if the people that they paid all this money do not play well in these events. And really, I'm talking about 5-6 guys. Danny Lee, 99% of people that follow golf have no clue who he is. Now, if Danny Lee, I've seen a lot of arguments on the internet. Well, a no-name guy just won the Valspar. Yeah, but to get to that position, you got to make a cut, and then he beat Jordan fucking Spieth. Now, if it was 5 other no-names, John Middlekauff, Bill Williamson, and, Taylor Montgomery, and, Travis Shank or whatever. I mean, it's hard to play professional golf if your last name's Shank. I would get that argument, and that happens sometimes on the PGA Tour. But when I get Jordan Spieth, a guy that's won several majors, and many people are going to pick him to win the Masters, as long as he's in the mix, LIV, if Danny Lee beats out Dustin Johnson or Cam Smith, that's a win. But to have all the top guys nowhere to be found, Bryson DeChambeau just sucks now. DJ, I give him somewhat of a pass because he kicked ass and took names last year. And Phil is he's a name. But if Cam's nowhere to be found, Koepka feels kind of like a shot fighter, it's a problem. No one really cares that much about the older Euros. You need some of the younger guys, and I'm not counting Cam Smith in that group. But whether it's DJ, who did his part last year, but definitely Koepka and Bryson, those guys are massive, massive names. Koepka's 4-time major winner. Bryson's one of the more polarizing, transcendent golfers in recent memory. It's just going to be very, very hard to build relevancy. And there's a lot of, articles coming out about the health of LIV and the changing dynamics of LIV, because it feels like the Saudis are pulling back some of the cash relative to what they were spending last year. Shipnucks wrote some articles on that. I do think it behooves the PGA Tour to just keep shitting on them and telling people things in the media to make them look bad. Because one thing's been said, the LIV players are not allowed to give interviews without getting the thumbs up from the Saudis, which clearly they don't give many of them. And clearly it doesn't behoove these players to really talk because they can be asked kind of questions that make them uncomfortable pretty fast. So most of these players don't really talk. So I would expect to continue to see articles, coming at guys going to defect, guys bitching and moaning, guys not happy with the setup. Regardless of the outcome of those articles and the reality on tour, the health of the league, they got to get some of the top guys playing well. And it sure doesn't feel like we're any closer to that. And it'll be interesting once these guys come to the majors, because we all assume, like, and I do, DJ will play well at the Masters. Cam Smith could have, was right there in it last year, until hole 12. But it's hard to have faith in that group of players headed into Augusta.